astrologer Wonder Girl, and I am here to give you your weekly horoscope for the week of Monday, May 1st through Sunday, May 7th. Now this week is an interesting week, mostly because there's not too much going on. A matter of fact, to me the week looks a little slow. It also looks a little frustrating, perhaps because it is so slow, and there's not much going on there. Especially when we just come off of a weekend with the sun still in Taurus, a moon in Cancer, we're perhaps feeling a little lazy, unmotivated in some ways, that kind of thing. And so this week, that's kind of what it is. Some frustration perhaps about where our life is going, perhaps not feeling like anything is moving, perhaps especially in the direction that we would like, and needing to be patient and wait for things to really pick up speed and momentum. I think what can easily happen with a week like this, where you have the astrology as it is that we get kind of down in the dumps, or we have this feeling that life is always going to be the same and it's never going to change, and we're always going to have the same problems over and over again, or, you know, we can't move forward. And I want you to know, before we get into the rest of it, that that's not true. That, a matter of fact, next week, okay, in a week's time, things are going to pick up and they're going to start to move really, really fast. Especially not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday around May 10th, when we've got the nodes changing signs, we've got a full moon in Scorpio, okay, and we've got a big fire trine in the sky. Things are going to pick up, they're going to pick up fast, and by the end of this month, life is going to feel a lot better, it's going to move a lot faster, and that this month now is, or that this week right now is really the calm before the storm, okay, and you just gotta sit through it. You just have to wait for it to pass until more exciting things start to happen and your life starts to pick up. So that's where we are this week. Now we start this week with Mercury conjunct Uranus. Mercury actually did this at the end of last week, but it is actually stationing on Uranus as it's ending its retrograde period, which it will come out of on May 3rd, on Wednesday. And because of that, we're really having to focus on some unexpected news that has come to us, something unexpected, perhaps out of the ordinary in some ways, a little weird or unusual, could also be a little jarring, something that has come to you that has shaken you a little bit. Could also be you wanting to break free from life, being so tired that things are the way that they've always been and wanting to move forward. And so we're really being asked to sit in this feeling, to figure it out, to understand it, to not let it get the best of us, and to really learn how to harness this unexpected news and to use it for our good. These unexpected news is going to be a lot related to our identity, because Mercury and Uranus are in Aries, which rules the identity and the self, but it's also going to have a lot to do with how you identify with other people and with your relationships, because it is at the midpoint between the Sun and Venus, bringing up a lot of issues that are going there. So that's kind of what we're dealing with, and that unexpected news that happened last week could bring up a lot of frustration as we move forward, us trying to make sense of what that was all about, what it meant, why is our life constantly changing, and trying to move forward. What could make things even more frustrating is that Venus did just enter Aries at the end of last week at the 0 point coming in, so we're wanting to move forward on what we want, on who we are, on what makes us happy, you know, and not think so much about other people, and not think so much about the things that are holding us back. You know, Aries is the sign of war, it's the sign of passion, motivation, moving forward and making things happen, and Venus is really the straggler now of the bunch, being the last one to come through it, kind of, you know, bringing up some of these issues around relationships once again, how we relate to other people and what that all means. So there's a lot of this stuff going on that can contribute to some of the frustration you feel this week. On top of this unexpected news coming up with relationships and with other people, perhaps you're struggling in some way to learn how to integrate some of these changes and with your relationships into the future, into where you want them to go, where you want your life to be, where you see them happening. This is because Jupiter in Libra is in a semi-square with the North Node in Virgo. This has been happening for a little bit, so it's not entirely new that your relationships can't quite seem to get on board with who you are and what you want. That will be changing very soon, especially as the nodes slip into Leo and Aquarius, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, but perhaps just understand that things are changing. On top of that, we may be feeling a little hurt about life, about our commitments, about our journey, about where it's going. Saturn and Sagittarius is still squaring Chiron and Pisces, bringing up some more pains, some more difficulties about the commitments we make, about where life is going, that we're going to have to learn to overcome and to really move forward and move past. Now, the pain, for the most part, that we're experiencing has already been done. Like, the bad things have already happened, so it's not necessarily new things that are occurring, although Mercury, Uranus could, trigger some new things, but more so learning how to deal with all the things that have happened and how to overcome our pain and our hurt and not let them continue to drag us down like maybe they have previously. This week is a good week to learn how to organize some of the changes in your relationships, how to think about them constructively. So maybe action isn't happening. Maybe we're not so much acting and making things happen in our life in a better way where we feel like we're really progressing and moving forward. But there is a lot kind of going on behind the scenes with how we feel, with what we want, trying to organize our life and make sense of things in a way that is productive. And so that's a lot of what's going on this week, trying to make sense of relationships, make sense of what makes us happy, so that when the time comes to act, which will come especially next week and into the rest of the month, we know exactly what we need to do. Which is a lot going on with relationships, figuring out how to organize our commitments to those. It may require us to think about relationships in new and different ways that we've never thought about them before, to do things differently, but to kind of realize that there are some things that are changing and that all changes don't have to be bad, that we can make the best of them, kind of get on top of the wave and use it to our advantage. But sometimes it just takes some time for us to think about them, to formulate things in the right way, to not make any rash moves. I don't know if I would want to make a bunch of rash moves this week, even though you may be tempted to with Mercury and Uranus, just because of all the frustration that you may experience as you move forward to kind of build more of the life that you want. The Sun in Taurus is also in a semi-square with Chiron, so maybe you're feeling a little frustrated that you can't overcome some old hurts and some old pains about where you want to go, having some difficulty with that happening, but at the same time trying really hard to come up with some insights, to see things in different ways, to be more creative about the life that you want and where you're going. So there's a lot of that going on this week that really continues, and into the rest of the week. Also, there's Mercury in Aries, which is in a semi-square with Mars and Gemini, where maybe you don't quite understand how to act to get what you want. There's some frustration about what to do, where your life is going, how to put your actions in the right perspective, or how to act in a way that really feels comfortable for you, allows you the freedom to explore and to get what you want. So a lot of those things that are really, really going on this week, trying to figure out how you can overcome and work past old hurts. And move forward in new ways and really break through some of this unexpected stuff that's coming up, so that you can get on top of it and really gain control over the situation and have more power and be able to more freely express yourself as you move into the month. Okay, and so that's really the way I see this whole week. Not too much going on outwardly. Mercury Uranus is happening, so unexpected things can come up, and it's happening at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week because of the way that Mercury is stationing on it, making it a really big thing we're going to have to deal with, is some unexpected news that may be a little jarring. But there's really not much that can be done this week about the unexpected news, at least outwardly. It's mostly going to be working with ourselves inwardly, trying to figure out how we feel and think about it and put it in the right perspective, so that when it is time to move on it next week, we can get a hold of it and move in the right direction. So that's what I see. The card for this week is the Seven of Pentacles reversed. And the Seven of Pentacles is really about us looking back at our life and over who we've been and what we've done and what we've accomplished, and realizing we're not quite there yet. We don't really have the life that we want yet. Things aren't really where they're supposed to be, and feeling that way. And I find that interesting, because to me that goes along very well with the astrology, where this week we're not where we're meant to be. We're not where we're supposed to be, and we're not going to be yet until really the end of the month, when things start to open up and things start to feel more free. And so we're kind of at this point in our life this week where we're feeling unhappy, a little, not content with where our life is. And I think we have to realize is that we're about to enter a time, not this week, but in the next few weeks after this one, that are going to allow us to really create the life that we want, to move forward in that new direction, to be who we want to be, create a life that's more authentic, but that we have to do it with patience. We have to do it with understanding. We have to do it with maturity. We can't make these rash moves, even though unexpected things may happen, but we have to do it from a place of knowledge and understanding of who we are and what we really want. So that's what I see for you this week. Thank you so much for watching my horoscopes. If you like them, please like them on Facebook, YouTube, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment. I love those, even though I may not always be the quickest at getting back to people. But know that I do see them and I do love them and appreciate them very, very much. So thank you so much. I hope this week isn't too difficult, and I will talk to you next week.